that, okay, fine, if I continue in job, 58 years, 60 is basically your retirement age. What's beyond that? I cannot start something afresh at that point of a time. So might as well start early. Can I do it? And I was contemplating that idea, again went back to Sanjay, and I asked him, Sanjay, what should be done? So he said, Utpal, you have experience of working with corporates. You know how they do it, you know their business practices and everything.
Yeah.
You have also invested in startups, so you know how startups operate, what value addition they can give. It's time that, we bring both of them together.
Okay.
And that's where they had started the whole corporate venture capital. Now that was again, one off at that point of time. It is still,
it is still
one off.
very new and
it is still one off.
I don't think anyone else is doing, if I'm not.
No one is doing it as a service.
As a proper full-time service or offering, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, while the journey of 100x was started on CVC at that point of a time, but he said, Utpal, if you want to lead this, why don't you join us and lead the corporate venture capital? So obviously, I was not part, and I'm not part of the normal investments which 100x makes into a startup, because that's a different journey. My journey over here was basically that I have to work with corporates, identify. So, I have to do a lot of discussions with corporates. I have to understand, what is their investment thesis, are they interested in investing and engaging with the startup ecosystem or not? Understand that, take it forward from there, and, get into those kind of an engagement, which is, we don't call it an engagement, but we call it partnership, because it's a long-term thing. Any investment that anyone makes, irrespective of whether you are a corporate investor, whether you are a VC, or whether you are an angel investor, any investment that you make in the startup ecosystem to grow and to show its real outcome, it takes almost 3 to 4 years. So that's the reason we said that we are getting into a partnership with corporates, help them build up the whole thesis. We work as their extended arm. We do everything, so the entire heavy lifting or front ending is done by us. We go out in market, search for startup based on their thesis, create the entire investment thesis, interact with the investment team, because each of the corporate will obviously have their investment team. Create the investment thesis, discuss with the ICs, investment committees. Once a decision is taken.
So you set the IC team and the investment team?
We don't. So corporate will have their own thing. We don't get into, because we are not the decision maker. See, ultimately the decision maker is corporate. Our role is basically to get the curated startups before them. Create the investment thesis, tell them that what is right, what is wrong, but ultimate decision making is by them. But once they take a decision whether they want to go ahead or not, then we again get into the action, depending on the due diligences to be done, whether they want us to help them or they will take it. The journey continues, but we front end on the deal negotiation, because startups are much more comfortable discussing about it with us as compared to corporate, because there's always a fear, when you are interacting with corporates, what's the intent?
Giants. What's the intent?
What's the intent, kind of a thing. So I think so that they are very much comfortable, and we do those kind of negotiation. But I think so it's bringing both of them together. It's bringing both of them together. They basically take their decision of what is the kind of investment they want to make. Once the decision is done, investment is done, we help them in monitoring the thing. And when we say monitoring, so monitoring not just the investment that they have made, but monitoring the entire ecosystem. Because what is happening,
that industry, that sector,
what is happening, what is the new theme that is coming up, but which has a synergy with them. So like I can give you an example, like something like Pidilite, with whom we are working now. If we identify that there is some new theme which is emerging, which has a synergy with what they are doing, then we bring it to their attention and we tell them that, okay, fine, this is something which is upcoming. Would you like to look at that? And if they say yes, then we'll basically identify those things. So this is something which we are doing, and I think so.
So what is Pidilite, since you all are, I think, officially partnered with Pidilite, right? what is their thesis currently? How are they, like, and what kind of amounts do they invest? How much time does it take? Can you run us a little bit through their
So
process?
I'll not talk about the amount, because amount depends on the stage
range, just a
at
range.
which at which journey a startup is. I think so that is something which is internal to Pidilite. But yes, we help them in creating the thesis. So I think so the thesis runs around their core business. Okay, and anything which is basically a subset of their core, we actually help them creating their entire.
So what is their core
pillars.
business? One is Fevicol, which is there.
Yeah.
What are their core
So
business?
adhesives is basically their
Adhesives.
core.
Okay.
Now imagine adhesives will be used where. So when you say carpentry, when you say some kind of a toys, when you say some kind of crafts, arts and craft, when you say something relating to contractors or interior designers, I think so. We basically had a long discussion with them and created those theses, which are very much there. It's mentioned on their website also, Pidilite Ventures. So everything is mentioned in terms of the thesis, what is the investment they have made, and everything is listed over there. So we help them in doing that, and our journey still goes on. So there's a dedicated team who's working constantly for Pidilite. Their role, their job is to identify relevant deals. We want to work with limited set, but we want to give the value add. So similarly, when we started with our discussion with Panasonic,
Okay.
Our initial thought was basically that how they are going to look at it, where they are well established globally and all those stuff. So we started discussing that how do we engage, and that thought process actually translated into their team came down from Japan.
Oh wow.
We had a kind of meeting, discussions and everything, and we said that okay fine, if you are basically contemplating an idea rather than doing a direct investment, first let's just understand how the startup ecosystem works in India, whether they are able to deliver to our expectation, our kind of use cases.
Yeah.
And then we can take a decision whether we want to partner with them, or probably we may end up investing into them. But the thought process was more from the business integration, and we actually partnered with them. We actually started the whole program called Corporate Innovation for them. We are running that program, which is currently live also.
So this is a service that you're providing to the
Yes.
corporates, and you all charge from the corporates without getting into specifications. That's
Absolutely.
a service model that you all are working
Absolutely.
on with the corporate.